Hello and good morning, Anne. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic, and I'm so excited to talk with you. And the reason why this is going to be author to author, my last book was exactly what you're doing here. You're remaining so faithful to what this author was all about. And I mean, it blows me away that you kept it all 100% in a poetic format. And it's just, I mean, congratulations on being true.
Thank you, but now I have to look up your book. What was your book?
Well, it was called Scrambled Eggs, and it was a story that came to me while I was walking through a mall. That I in my heart I wanted to write a book about John Lennon still being alive. And as I sat down to write that story, I thought, no, John Lennon would do it in a poetic way. He wouldn't do it where it's very structured and you have to go by the rules, by commas and periods and quotations. And I thought nobody's going to read this, and because poetry is so personal.
I write in verse because, as with your John Lennon story, you want to talk. You kind of channel the person you're writing about. Mm-hmm. And having been an English teacher, it's hard to turn the grammarian off when I'm writing. I'm just straight writing. I'm wondering, does a comma go here? Does a period go here? Am I ending the sentence with a preposition? So I just find it very freeing to stay true to the story if I write through the character, or in this case, through Rachel's eyes.
You are so right about that, because I went out and got the Mont Blanc John Lennon pen, and that's what I did when I did the story, is I wrote it all out with that writing instrument. You're so right. You have to become that character.
And then the reader can also become the character.
Yeah.
And then the reader can kind of meld with the character in the places. And you're not really reading about Rachel Carson or John Lennon. Mm-hmm. You are understanding the world through their eyes. You're experiencing the world that way.
When listeners pick up this book, and because you know how they are, they'll pick up a book and they'll thumb through it. They need to go into it knowing that this is going to be pictures they've never experienced before, because the way that you use verse, it gives you the patience to just, instead of reading through a book quickly, we get to observe this book. We get to experience it.
Thank you.
To put yourself in that emotion as the writer, and then we are the receiver. How did you move through that?
It's really it's just easier for me. It's just I just go along with it. Yep. I followed her. I followed her life pretty closely, and the more you're acquainted with a character, or in this case Rachel, the more you understand if you throw them something that, if you need to put something in that's maybe something didn't happen. Her father was a very quiet man, for instance, and so I know that he loved Rachel, and I know that he appreciated her. So the ways that I find for him to say that, or to let him know, was seeing it through Rachel's eyes and understanding. You just get to know the character better. I don't know. I think I'm not explaining myself very well.
You're explaining it perfectly, because I totally get it, because music gets inside our soul, and I think that with verse you've got that rhythm to it, which really gives you that opportunity, to take in the entire story.
Right. And Rachel had a very Rachel herself, I don't know, Rachel was kind of one with nature. That's part of her whole, her whole belief was that we are all part of nature. And until we get that, the more we recognize that, the easier our lives will be, instead of trying to control nature. And so it's kind of the same thing. Instead of trying to control what happens to Rachel, I let the character experience it and go with the flow, kind of.
I think that's the connection that I have with the book, is the fact that she lived by the laws of nature, and this studio is built right here in this forest in South Charlotte, North Carolina. So, I mean, I love my trees. I love my deer. I love my hawks. And maybe that's my connection with Rachel. And now you've introduced me to somebody that I need to read about and to study.
Absolutely. And she didn't really see science as what she was doing as separate from any kind from life or from poetry. She just saw it all as, she just had an amazing vision of all of us being part of this world. you not you looking out on your trees, but being part of the beauty of that surrounding.
That is so true. You're speaking my language like you wouldn't believe. Do you feel that when it came to Rachel as well as yourself, that the energy to put words together in verse form is coming from nature? Because I believe that I'm not the writer here. I'm just somebody who's delivering the message.
Yeah, actually, that's very much how I feel, and how sometimes I get embarrassed because I'm like, well, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I feel like I'm channeling the person, which I not really, but that I am, that I'm part of it. And there was so much in Rachel that I identified with. Although I certainly don't have her courage, but she, I channeled what I could experience, and I don't know, it just comes.
Rachel seems to be the type of person that would inspire Generation Alpha, which is the new generation, that to basically go out there and find your voice, get your voice, study your voice, and become a part of this planet in bigger ways than just walking through.
That's exactly right. That's beautiful. Yes. That's what her lesson is, that we are not just walking through. We are part of it, and embrace it, love it. And then I think that there are picture books for Rachel, and there are adult books for Rachel, but I think that the middle grade age is just the age where you absorb, and it gives you possible, or in the best of worlds, the books you read give you a vision for the world as it could be, and then for you to find the voice to amplify whichever avenue or path is yours.
Yeah. One of the things that shocked me about the book was the fact that we talk about Rachel in the way that they were already talking about the climate in 1962. This is not something that happened in 2000. I mean, 1962, they were already worried about the planet.
Absolutely, they were. And that's the other piece that we hear a lot of complaints that everyone's talking about climate change, but this is not new. Climate change and the damage and the suffering of our planet is not something that just happened, and I think it's important to see that, again, we're all part of this grand timeline. And for Rachel, she spoke, and she gave voice to a time period. It was like she's telling us, remember, it's not starting with you. Remember, you're on a timeline. And instead of getting better, we are just using more and more.
Now, this book it's a novel of Rachel Carson. Are you going to write about other women who came into power and changing people's lives? I still have Rachel in my heart, so Good.
It'll be a while before I calm down. I do have some things that I started that I may go back to, so I'm not quite sure what my next piece will be. I'm sure that I will write again, because now I feel like Rachel opened my eyes in ways that I had never known, like that science was beautiful, and that it's not just. She was both a scientist and a writer, and then she said there was no difference between them. It was just different ways of absorbing understanding. So I'm sure there is someone else out there. I have to get curious again and start sniffing around.
Where can people go to find out more about you, Anne?
I have a website, annburg.com. And I have occasional writing there, and it lists my books and picture of me when I was a kid. So annburg.com would be best, because that would also link you to my blog if you go there.
Wow. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future where we can break down the style of writing and why you did different things with the writing and stuff, because I'm inspired by how you use your verse.
Okay, well, I will. Meanwhile, I'm going to go out and look for your book.
Okay. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Okay, thank you. Have a lovely day.